Well, as predicted, the battery died on me, but it's how it works. So here's what we're going to do right now. I got all of them in now, and I double checked my numbers, and it says on the rod bolts 19 to 24 foot-pounds. To me, sounds awful light, but I've double checked it more times than I can look at. The 351s are claiming 40 to 45, but both 302s, the low performance and the HOs, are 19 to 24 pounds. That's just not what I expected, but you know, the way it works. So anyway, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through real quick before I start buttoning anything up. We're going to double check them all, because that's just something, it's a good idea, and it is at the high end at 24 pounds. Well, I don't have the fuzz from them blue rags. I'm gonna have to get something different, because that's just not cutting it. Alright, I'm pretty happy with it. Take the, come on. Even though it's only 24 pounds, I'm still adamant about taking the pressure off of the, take the spring load off of my, okay, so that's done. And I've got you plugged in at the same time, so I really can't tell you, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now just double checking to make sure all my numbers are in the right place, and they are. So there we go. Alright, now we're going to move on. I just want to bring you back to show you that not only are they all in, but I got it in. Got it done. So now that this is done, I'm probably going to start working on the oil pump and get that on. And then I have to check something that I didn't realize Ford had done. I went to order a priming tool, and there's two different ones, 1/4 inch and 5/16 hex drive. So I don't know which one I got. And the problem is now I'm concerned about is that the oil pump, I bought the drive rod with it, and I bought a distributor that's supposedly for the roller engines. I have no idea if the distributor has the right, if you follow what I'm saying. So this is the oil pump drive rod, and obviously it goes into the pump, but well, I assume it does. I bought this as a unit, so it should. Yes, it goes into the, okay, that's not the problem. That's not a problem. Let me go find the distributor I bought. I think it's back here in a box buried somewhere. Let's go find it real quick, and let's find out what it actually has, because this might be a short, well, this might be something that's going to aggravate me. Hang on, I'm looking for it. I know I possess it. I know I bought it. I know I own it. I just don't remember what I did with it. That ain't it. That's lifters. Gaskets. I'm still hunting. Don't give up on me. That's intake manifold, water pump, cam. Stuff is falling. Here's the oil pan, pickup tube, Oh, there it is, right where I left it. What's in that box? No. I brought everything out here so I wouldn't be misplaced. Alright, sorry, my bad. Here's the distributor I bought. This is supposed to be specifically for the roller cammed later model 5 liter. So, oh yeah, no, that's a good deal. Yep, that's in there like it's supposed to be. I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna rebag it. And what I did was, because I didn't know which shaft I had, I didn't feel like coming back out here to measure. I just bought both priming tools because they were only 22 bucks a piece or whatever. So it's just easier to buy them both than it would be to try to order one and get it wrong or try to guess or whatever. So anyway, all right. When I get, I gotta get the pickup tube out of the bag and get a bunch of stuff together, and I'll bring you back here in just a second. Well, guys, I'm here to be a future Mike and explain some things that I have done inaccurately in this next particular segment. You know, I've already done that on the heads being put on the wrong side, stuff like that. So I try to come in and explain to you why, you know, or how I made a mistake. And this next video coming up, part of this video, I think I started with an end of one video and then starting on to the next is oil pump install. So I made many videos and I cussed Ford 100%, and come to find out the Ford was not at fault, it was me. So I know I sound stuffed up and I just got over a pretty bad head cold, but I had to bring you back and explain what happened. This is the drive pump rod for a small block Ford, at least in this particular instance. And I bought a new one along with an oil. It came with an oil. I bought the oil pump and drive pump rod together. I will explain it, have explained it, you know, before, prior, during this, after this video, whatever. What the mistake was I made when I originally tore this engine down and did not video that last part of me pulling all the rods out and starting on the crank. And so the oil pump had to be one of the first things to come back off. And so I unbolted the oil pump off camera, didn't even do it myself. And apparently the drive pump rod stayed in the block, which isn't a bad thing. It's just I did not know which way it went. So in this next video, you're going to see me drop this in with this little keeper adjust. It doesn't adjust. It's the exact same place as the new one is, but I think I put this in upside down. I don't have another block to check it on, and I'm not taking this engine back apart to find out. But what I did was I put this in, this up against the oil pump, this side. It has this, like I said, this little goofy, see it there? I think that was supposed to go up towards the distributor. I think that was supposed to be the distributor side. Well, in this case, sorry, since you're looking at the distributor on camera, yeah, I think this should have went up. And I put it down. What that did, and you're going to see me say, well, I dropped that in. It's like, well, I hope that lines up, or I say something, I don't remember what it is now. I should have stopped right there, but instead I didn't. I went ahead and ran it like that. Even though I pulled the oil pan down once, and let me tell you what happened. I put this thing together, and I guess this actually fell into place the first time, because I was able to put the oil pump drive rod in, and was able to, on the engine stand, I was able to prime this engine. I did it more than once, but a couple of times I didn't have enough pressure on the drill, and it actually pulled it up. Well, it also pulled this out of the oil pump, and I fumbled putting it back in, and that's when my videos came out, which I probably won't post, of me cussing this thing about having no way to hold this in. Long story short, this thing came out of that oil pump because I had to pull that drive pump rod a couple of times. I ended up having to pull the distributor out 2 or 3 times, and in doing so, each time this rod came out of the oil pump and does not fall back in the hole. And at one point, clear full of oil, this thing fell enough sideways, it fell down into the oil pan. So I had to take the oil pan back up. You're going to see part of that video. I may put some of it out. I don't know, my editing skills suck so bad, but we'll try to work through that. But what I'm going to tell you, though, the reason I brought you back for this future deal here, the next scenes you're going to see
is me put this in upside down, and although it's not catastrophic, the engine's going to run, it's not going to fall out because the distributor's holding it down from one side, the bolts from the oil pump are holding it on the other side. It's not going to fall out, but what it will do is every time I have to pull that distributor, this thing is probably going to fall out. And so if it does it while the engine is in the bay, and it falls into the pan, I think you got to pull the engine. Possibly this one may, I think there's a brace in there, I think, because it's an older car. I think I can take that out of the way, and I think I can pull the oil pan, and at that point I'm going to put it in the right direction. But what I'm telling you though is if it's already done and in the engine, some of those cars will not allow you to drop that pan while it's in. You're going to have to pull the engine up to do this. So don't do what I do. Put it in there the right direction. Since I didn't video, what happened was, I didn't finish that story. Excuse me. When I pulled that distributor, or excuse me, when I pulled that engine apart, this must have stayed in the block. And when I got everything out and I turned the engine block back over, this fell on the floor. I just assumed I put it in right, and I didn't. So for you Ford guys who are saying you're an idiot, how could you not see it or figure this out? I'm with you. I blew it. But let me explain something to you. If you've never worked on a Chevrolet, now I don't have the keeper for it because I just don't. This is an old oil pump, a 400 small block. This is a dry pump rod. See, it's slotted anyway. It's not that hex key. It's just a slotted deal. There is a neoprene, plasticky looking, some of them are even steel I've seen, that hold this in, that hold this together. So when you turn this upside down to put it in the engine, that doesn't go anywhere. It stays where it belongs. So being used to this kind of a setup is what kind of led me astray. Why don't we just say it that way? So I was aggravated at Ford to begin with, and then after I started thinking about it, but I was not able to actually check the rotation to make sure that goes down that way and not hit the block alignment tool for the distributor. It doesn't matter. All I'm saying is do some more research before you do it, because although it's not catastrophic, it could be a pain in the butt if you end up having to pull your distributor. You end up dropping that thing down into the pan, and you got to pull the engine just to get that thing drug out of there. So future Mike, going to step side, you're going to see me put the oil pump in, and I'm telling you the rod is upside down, so don't do what I do. Alright, brought you back. Here's the factory oil pump. Boy, she looks pretty rough. So I've got the bolts out of it for the mount, which is here. Just going to put them there for now. They need cleaned up. And then these are the two bolts, which luckily I put them all back in when I pulled the pickup tube off. I try to do that kind of stuff, but boy, every once in a while, I just like, where did I put that? And oh, anyway, there's gaskets too. That's something that again, that Ford does and Chevrolet has never done that I'm aware of, at least on the small block Gen 1s and 2s. Actually, the Gen 3s and 4s actually use O-ring. So, and they're notorious for failing. I see them more on the Gen 4s than I do the 3s, and if the 3s do it, it's usually because it's got a boatload more miles on it than, or they've used the wrong oil, which, you know, not change the oil enough, sometimes using the wrong oil. The higher detergent ones, I'm not sure is good or bad on that stuff. I mean, I'm not an oilologist, I guess you want to say. Okay, now this is very, very important. Here's the two holes for the mount. This center hole, that's, where am I at? No, sorry, my bad. The hole is, well, I tell you what, it's easier to show you if I can get you off here without not losing the cord here. Okay, you see that hole right there, center man? That's where your distributor comes down, and that's where this drive rod runs. And there's a shoulder on that. You see that little keeper thing? I mean, it could actually come off if need be, but it's on there for a reason. If you try to wait and put the oil pump in, I'm trying to find the, where's it at? And then you try to put this in, I know it's going to be hard to see. She won't clear that.
This has to go on first here. Now, whether it'll line up with the pump yet, I don't know. What I have done in the past, and I think I did this on my last one, and I may do it with this one, is if you put grease on this, like actual grease, not like oil or Sunday lube, but actual grease on that, that will likely stay in this a little bit easier because the engine's upside down. Now, I could, you know, do it the other way, but I'm going to clean this up real quick, get all the oil and stuff out of it, and then I think that's my plan. Is it doesn't have to be. I just don't want to try to fight putting it in a little bit later, which it may end up having to do either way. I mean, pushing it down into the oil pump. Like I said, I'm probably gonna have to do that either way because I don't know how long this thing's gonna be upside down. But I did have some grease laying here, and now I do not see it. I don't know what to do with it. Well, forget it. Let's fight it. So I'm going to put it back in. Then I'm going to figure out the mounts here. So we have two gaskets. We have two different gaskets. This is one of them, which I assume is this one. And make sure. Yep, that one's that one. So we're going to use this one. I do like the idea of bolting your pickup tube on the pump. I do like that better. Chevrolet, it's a press-on deal, and you know, I honestly prefer the bolt-on style. The Gen 3s and 4s are bolt-on with single bolt, but it does work, you know. But you cannot get a socket on that side. It actually, at least on these aftermarket pumps, they will hit. So you do have to use an open-end wrench. Half my wrenches are laying out there on the ground underneath the BMW. That makes it nice and convenient. I know they're not metric, but still, all my bolts are laying outside. They're wrenches. 9/16. I'm sure there's a torque spec on this, but like I said, if you can't get a socket on there, it doesn't do you any good. So that feels strong enough. Now, need a 1/2 inch. Here's trying to get the package open, and it is not stronger than I am apparently. Oh, stronger than my okay. There we go. I just wasn't being forceful enough. And here is the old pickup tube. It's a good idea to look it all over, make sure that screen's in there proper. They actually braze that on there, make sure it's soldered all the way around there on both ends. It's not perfect, but it looks good enough that it's going to work for what we're doing. This is probably a good idea to Loctite these in, but and I'm, you know, I think it's probably I probably should go down and get some. I don't even know that I possess Loctite. I think I do somewhere. I think I bought some here recently. Don't know what to do with it. put together 2 bolts with lock washers. Oh, I just jerked on you. That's what I don't like about that cord hanging on there. You got extension cord laying on the floor. Yes, I put the gasket in there. Alright, that ain't going anywhere. Alright, I'm not finished yet. I'm not putting the oil pan on because there was that oil pump rod. You just, yeah, oil pump rod just. And it is not in the right spot. That was my concern. All right, I'm going to put my head in front of you for a second. Luckily, you can get to it. There, it's in there now.